imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present.
Kamala Harris is a bully who's pushed out or made life intolerable for virtually every person who's come to work for her in the White House. She's the Megyn Markle of the administration. People can't work for her.
Megyn Kelly just pulled that move again. The one where she steps right into political mayhem, drops a truth bomb, and walks off like she just won a debate no one else got an invite to. This time, Kamala Harris is in the crosshairs. And let's just say, it's not looking good. From awkward chuckles to political acrobatics, Megyn's got proof, attitude, and absolutely no filter. Get ready. This one's gonna burn worse than a Kamala word salad.
Kamala Harris, who decided to pop up this week at the Leading Women Defined, what a terrible name for a summit, the Leading Women Defined Summit in California, and had this to say, SOT 26.
Each day in these last few months in our country, and it understandably creates a great sense of...
Kamala Harris, dumb as ever.
I mean, she looks drunk to me.
She always.
I don't want to I don't want to throw around any crazy charges here, but that's not.
Before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe. You know you don't want to miss this one. Kamala Harris was having one of those weeks again. The kind where the teleprompter sighs before she does, the crowd stares in confusion, and her laugh lingers in the air like a ghostly ringtone from 2019. And just when she thought things couldn't possibly get more awkward, Megyn Kelly decided to enter the ring.
Kamala Harris is having her moment in the sun. I heard you guys talking about this on your show. And she's in a great mood, and she actually has reason to be. Her books are selling fast, like wildfire. 350,000 copies sold so far, which is actually really good. I actually can't wait to see when she hits the New York Times bestseller list if she has the little asterisks next to her number, which not everybody knows means that you used bulk sales to get there.
Because apparently, someone had to say what everyone else was already thinking. The Vice President of the United States has turned word salad into a full-time profession. Megyn didn't show up with a shovel. She brought an excavator. She's been observing Kamala's public appearances the way a scientist watches a puzzled hamster trying to open a jar. There's curiosity, disbelief, and a touch of "is this seriously happening?"
She can't do it. She cannot do it. She's desperately trying to be Oprah, and she can't be Oprah. And as it turns out, Oprah is kind of a psychopath. I'm going to do a piece on this at some point. Honestly, we were raised by wolves, those of us who watch that show religiously. I figured it out at 54. In any event, Kamala Harris is not even as good as the fake Oprah, never mind the real one. And I don't know, you guys, you seem to be very bullish on her newfound confidence and think that this sales number is going to encourage her to actually run again. I mean, I'll start with you on that, Andrew. Do you believe that?
Megyn simply pointed out what millions had been pretending not to see. This isn't profound. It's just baffling. You see, Kamala has a unique talent. Some politicians connect with people through ideas. Kamala connects with them through confusion. She'll start a sentence like a rocket launch, but halfway through, the rocket seems to remember it left the oven on and just spins in circles. It's like watching GPS directions argue with themselves. Turn left. No, right. Actually, just laugh awkwardly until everyone forgets where they were headed.
About how they vote.
Back to me. If we could just bring it back to me. I was the first here in the first day. I was the second there, but then I was the third. And then I was the first, and then I almost became the first this, but I was like, this is how leftists think. It's like, I would be humiliated. I really would. If I were Kamala Harris, I'd be like, look, there was a time in this country when that was at the forefront of people's minds. We're past that time. Look at my stellar resume. Thanks to this great country, I've achieved all. No, she can't do. I was first, and then second, and then I was first again, and then I was like.
And Megyn, oh, she wasn't having it. She's seen chaos before. She's faced political heavyweights and walked straight through media firestorms. But nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared her for the linguistic origami that Kamala calls communication. It's not that Kamala's words don't make sense. It's that they make too much of the wrong kind of sense, like poetry written by a malfunctioning Roomba. The scene was simple. Megyn laid out the facts. Every time Kamala opens her mouth, the internet braces for impact. Clips flood timelines. Edits blow up on TikTok, and 1,000 new memes are born. Somewhere in the distance, Elon Musk sighs, knowing he'll have to ban Camelabot parody accounts again. It's like Kamala has built her whole brand on saying things that sound like they might mean something if you squint hard enough. We must work together because working together works best when we work together. Inspirational stuff. Megyn didn't raise her voice or roll her eyes. She didn't need to. She just did what Megyn Kelly does best. Slice through nonsense with surgical precision. She pointed out that every one of Kamala's public appearances feels like an improv class where nobody remembered the topic.
I love it. I want it, but why?
I think, well, all politicians operate inside a bubble, and in her bubble, this reinforces the view that she's still anointed, and she will go forward, and I think she will run again. I think the Washington Post, though, had a great. They said her book tour is even less compelling than her campaign. I think sort of describes it. It's been a shock to me. I will say this. I have not read the book. I've read the excerpts that were in the Atlantic, and I've read about it. And it does seem there's some juicy tidbits in the book, and maybe it's a better book than.
And the thing is, Kamala doesn't even realize it. She steps up to the podium, smiles with confidence, and dives into yet another paragraph that sounds like an AI trying to sound human. Megyn compared her to a motivational speaker stuck in a loop, constantly promising progress while explaining absolutely nothing. It's as if Kamala learned politics by watching fortune cookies argue with each other. Then Megyn called out the strangest part of it all, the media pretending this is brilliance. Every time Kamala says something incomprehensible, there's always one panel on cable news nodding like they've just heard Socrates himself. She's redefining leadership, they claim, while Megyn sits there wondering if anyone in the room even understands English anymore. The mental picture of Kamala's staff behind the scenes was pure comedy gold. You can practically see them praying before every speech. Megyn dubbed it the Kamala paradox. The more she talks, the less you understand, yet somehow you keep listening, hoping this will finally be the time it all makes sense. It never does. It's like binge-watching a series that keeps promising answers next season, but the writers never had a plot to begin with.
Here, as you know by this point, is how she handled it in her debate with a very polite, though appropriately interruptive, Mike Pence. I mean, it's a debate, so you're allowed here and there to say, I don't think so, or yo, that's not right. That's appropriate debate behavior, but not to Kamala Harris, who wants you to know when she's speaking.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I'm
speaking. Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Then came the real punch. Megyn started comparing Kamala's leadership style to a GPS that refuses to admit it's lost. Recalculating, it says cheerfully after driving straight into a river. Kamala smiles, waves, and insists everything's going exactly according to plan. America just has to believe harder. It's almost admirable, in a strange way. Kamala has perfected the art of saying nothing with absolute confidence. She delivers her lines like a TED Talk written during a caffeine rush. Every gesture is rehearsed, every smile timed. But the words? They're like decorative confetti. Nice to look at, but useless once you try to clean up the mess. Megyn pointed out how the administration seems terrified to let Kamala speak without supervision. Every time she's assigned to handle an issue, it feels less like diplomacy and more like damage control. The world watches in polite confusion as she explains root causes like a life coach who accidentally wandered into a policy briefing. Then came the classic Megyn moment, when she dismantled the idea that Kamala's critics are simply being unfair or biased. Megyn asked, if anyone else said these things, would they still have a job? She even joked that Kamala talks like she's running on Windows 98. Lots of buffering, endless updates, but never quite producing the result.
I have to get back to Kamala because she went on The View this morning, and it's amazing. It's amazing. You know, like leftists are going to leftist. Here is SOT 52.
A lot of people, I'm included, and President Biden also, think that a lot of it is about racism and sexism. And those are the reasons that you really lost, not because of the time thing. What do you say to that? Do you think this country will ever elect a woman president? In my lifetime, probably not.
I beg to differ. I believe that.
And then Megyn went straight for the throat. Kamala's notorious laugh, the one that begins as a giggle and turns into a full nervous system reboot, has practically become her political signature. It's part coping mechanism, part verbal exclamation point for sentences that have completely gone off track. Megyn noted that no world leader should sound like they just got caught sneaking out of detention. Kamala's laugh has managed to unite both sides of the political aisle, not in agreement, but in shared disbelief. It's the kind of sound that makes interpreters throw in the towel halfway through a sentence. Somewhere in Europe, there's probably a diplomat still traumatized from trying to decipher a Kamala press conference. Megyn compared Kamala's speaking style to modern art. You're told it's deep and meaningful, but all you see is chaos. The gallery insists you just don't understand it. But maybe, just maybe, there's nothing to understand. Kamala's speeches are like jazz, confusing, spontaneous, and somehow always ending in applause. The deeper Megyn went, the harsher her commentary became. She pointed out that Kamala's approval ratings were falling faster than her focus group-tested metaphors. Every time she tries to reset her public image, it turns into another episode of, wait, what did she just say? And somehow, the White House still looks shocked every time it happens.
I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I did not think she was an idiot. I now think she's a moron. She's not that smart. Forgive me. I'm still one of those people who gets wooed by titles. I'm like, she was the Attorney General of the state of California. How dumb could she be? Dumb. The answer is very, very dumb is the answer. And I've come to that conclusion just with my own eyes and ears from watching and listening to her. She cannot put two sentences together. I mean, the old man is actually losing his mental faculties.
Then Megyn turned to the 2024 elephant in the room, Kamala's rumored ambitions. The idea of her leading the ticket is like watching someone confidently walk into a spelling bee without knowing how letters work. Megyn couldn't resist imagining the campaign slogans, hope, progress, and word salad. Practically writes itself. She marveled at how Kamala's speeches always sound like she's unveiling some profound secret, only for the audience to realize she has no idea what she's talking about. Kamala uses pauses the way magicians use smoke, hoping no one notices the trick is hollow. And still, she insists everything is going perfectly. Megyn mocked that misplaced confidence, comparing it to someone bragging about winning a race they never finished. At this point, actual authenticity from Kamala would probably cause a scandal. The irony, of course, is that she could have been likable. She's charismatic, intelligent, and knows how to smile on cue. But somewhere between the campaign slogans and the White House photo ops, she turned into a walking philosophy lecture no one enrolled in. Megyn wrapped it all up with a warning disguised as a punchline. The country doesn't need another motivational speaker. It needs someone who can actually finish a sentence that means something.
Whenever she does speak, it's so cringy. That remark about what's next, I'm going to walk up these stairs, is so telling. She's so dumb. She's just not clever. And this is yet another example that's making the rounds today. It's a flashback from just April, not that long ago, when she was asked by Spectrum News what it would do to race relations if Trump repeals some of these DEI policies that she and Joe Biden have infiltrated the entire government with.
I think it's really important that we as Americans always embrace our history, the parts that we're proud of and the parts that...
Because at this rate, Kamala's legacy might just be that she made everyone nostalgic for silence. Megyn pointed out the harsh truth. Kamala isn't underestimated. She's overestimated by people too afraid to admit she's out of her depth. And the longer everyone keeps pretending her speeches make sense, the more the entire country starts sounding like it's in denial. Every time Kamala's name trends online, the internet braces for another viral clip of confusion. And there's Megyn, calmly sipping her coffee, watching it play out like a live sitcom. She's not mocking for entertainment. She's diagnosing the symptoms of a leadership void filled with nervous laughter and circular sentences. She didn't need outrage or theatrics. Just cool, sharp observation that made Kamala's political image crumble faster than her approval numbers. As Kamala continues her endless loop of speeches, smiles, and verbal mazes, Megyn stands as a reminder that not everyone is buying the performance. While the media keeps pretending that confusion equals depth, Megyn's already moved on, probably shaking her head and wondering how long the nation can keep pretending the emperor is fully clothed.
And it concerns me because that's all we have in line at the Democratic side. And as Trump's numbers continue to go up and up and up, and I realize some of the polls are showing him beating Joe Biden now in a hypothetical matchup, he's still very vulnerable. He did not win in 2020, and it looks like it's going to be the same matchup. And honestly, Joe Biden's knocking on, the Grim Reaper's door, and she could be the president of the United States in the next 6 years by default, if things go, in a dark and upsetting.
Kamala, meanwhile, will keep touring the world on her grand expedition of circular logic. She'll wave, she'll laugh, and she'll once again explain the meaning of the moment. Her team will applaud, the headlines will spin, and somewhere, Megyn Kelly will smile knowingly. Because once you've seen through the fog, you can't unsee it. So here we are, one woman armed with questions, the other armed with slogans. One speaks plainly, the other speaks in riddles. And in the battle between clarity and confusion, there's really no contest. Soon, everyone starts connecting the dots. The endless speeches about possibilities and moments in time begin to sound less like leadership and more like a glitching self-help podcast. You can almost picture Kamala's staff frantically working behind the scenes, trying to clarify what she meant to say, like translators pulling overtime at the United Nations of Confusion. Meanwhile, Megyn just stands there, watching it all unfold like a teacher who's read one too many bad book reports. She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't even flinch.
Kamala Harris, let's face it, was a DEI hire as vice president and would have been a DEI hire had we voted her in as president. She was just in Australia, as an aside, this week because some real estate conference hired her to speak. She's represented by CAA here in America, one of the biggest agencies out there. And they're apparently having trouble finding jobs for her domestically because they had to ship her halfway around the world in order to get a paid gig. And I just want the audience to know, this is how she sounds. This is what they paid, I don't know how much for. She sounds just like Kamala Harris.
She just smirks, because at this point, Kamala's predictability is almost comforting. You know exactly what's coming. An opening line that sounds profound, a pause that feels rehearsed, and a closing that says absolutely nothing. It's practically performance art. Kamala's rhythm has become her trademark. Start with confidence, drift into abstraction, then wrap it all up with that unmistakable laugh, the one that echoes across the room like an alarm clock no one wanted. The audience claps because they think they're supposed to, and Kamala smiles brightly, blissfully unaware that she's become her own punchline. Megyn, of course, doesn't even need to exaggerate. The truth is already funny enough. Every clip of Kamala carries its own peculiar energy, a mix of enthusiasm and confusion, as if she's forever explaining something to a room full of invisible children. Megyn even joked that Kamala has mastered the art of circular optimism, the rare talent of inspiring absolutely no one while sounding like she's saving the world. It's an impressive skill, really. It takes years of practice to talk for 10 minutes and leave your audience knowing less than when they started.
Look, I am a woman. I have a daughter. I hate the fact that there's been no female presidents. I really do. I hate the fact that when you take out your little placemat when your kids are learning the presidents, there's no female face on there, and then you have to explain why. It's effed up. I would love to see a female president, like a Margaret Thatcher type, somebody who's strong and serious and sober and respected. This ain't it. I am telling you, America is not going to elect this Nimrod as its first female president. I trust in them too much for that. They're not that dumb, and they're not that.
But what really gets Megyn, and let's be honest, the rest of the world, is that Kamala actually seems proud of it. She walks off stage like she's just delivered the Gettysburg Address. The staff applauds, the media nods, the internet gasps, and then Megyn Kelly quietly drops one line that shatters the illusion. Maybe it's time to stop pretending this is brilliance and start admitting it's babble. That's when the silence hits, because deep down, everyone knows Megyn's right. It's not sexist. It's not political. It's just painfully, hilariously true. Because in the end, Kamala Harris doesn't need enemies. Her greatest critic is her own sentence structure.